I'm here to offer a proclamation for our special guest, John Lewis, who is on his way. But this is who's coming. Whereas, while still a young man, John Lewis became a nationally recognized leader, and at the age of 23, he was dubbed one of the big six leaders of the civil rights movement and served as an architect of and keynote speaker at the historic March on Washington in August of 1963. Do we have anybody in the room that was at that march? There we go. There we go. Whereas John Lewis's role in organized sit-in demonstrations at segregated lunch counters, his participation in the famous Freedom Rides, and Bloody Sunday helped hasten the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And whereas in November 1986, John Lewis was elected to Congress, and since that time he has served as U.S. Representative of Georgia's 5th Congressional District. And whereas the Honorable U.S. Congressman John Lewis is often called one of the most courageous persons the civil rights movement has ever produced, and whereas John Lewis has dedicated his life to protecting human rights, securing civil liberties, and building what he calls the beloved community in America, and whereas John Lewis is the recipient of numerous awards from eminent national and international institutions, including the Lincoln Medal from the Historic Ford's Theater, the Golden Plate Award given by the Academy of Excellence, and the Preservation Hero Award given by the National Trust for Historic Preservation, to name just a few. Now therefore, the City Commission of the City of St. Augustine does hereby recognize the service and contributions made by John Lewis and welcome him to St. Augustine as keynote speaker for this 4th annual Freedom Trail Luncheon. Thank you, John Lewis. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful day.
Keep in mind, they say that, as I'm listening to David, that if you don't tell your story, it either gets told incorrectly or it doesn't get told at all. So, all of you who've been a part of the struggle, who've been a part of the heroes, the sheroes, you continue to tell your story. Next on the program, we will have a presentation. Senator Hill will present the Dr. R.B. Hailing Award.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Dr. King once said, our goal is to create a beloved community, and this will require a qualitative change in our souls as well as a quantitative change in our lives. Today we're here to honor an unsung hero by the name of Mr. Clyde Jenkins. This is the 2nd annual Dr. Robert B. Haley Award of Valor. Mr. Clyde Jenkins, a local barber, was kidnapped by the Ku Klux Klan along with Dr. Robert B. Haley, James Jackson, and the late James Hall in 1963. While parked along the highway on U.S. Highway 1, currently where the Big Block is located today, and it had not been for a white clergyman who infiltrated the Klan, slipped away from the rally and called the police. These men, who were beaten severely and stacked like cord wood, would have been burned alive. This, however, did not deter Mr. Jenkins as he continued his nonviolent protest for justice and equality. On June 11, 1964, he was arrested on the steps of the Monson Motor Lodge restaurant seeking service with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Reverend Ralph Alphanet, Boston University chaplain, Reverend William England, and our own guest here today, Catherine Finley. He was sent to jail, and he could be seen in an AP Vintage photo being led away to the police car. Another photograph showed Jenkins, along with King, in the St. Johns County Jail. Mr. Jenkins and his wife, Hattie Hickson Jenkins, will celebrate their 60th wedding anniversary. Let's give them a hand. 60 years. Mr. Jenkins is one of the unsung heroes of the civil rights movement and the 2010 recipient of the second annual Dr. Robert B. Haley Award of Valor. Sponsored by yours truly, Tony Hill, this award will be presented today at the 4th Annual Cord Freedom Trail Luncheon, honoring the true American hero of the civil rights movement of St. Augustine. Mr. Jenkins is in a local nursing home and could not be here today. So to accept the award on his behalf is his beautiful wife and bride, Mrs. Hattie Hickson Jenkins, a retired physical education teacher of St. John's County School District. As she makes her way up to receive the award, I want to close on this thought. Wayne Gretzky, the great hockey player, it reminds me so apropos of these great heroes that we're honoring today. He once said, "I skate to where the puck is going, not where the puck has been." So we want to thank Mr. Clyde Jenkins for skating where the puck is going. Come on, you can do better than that. Come on. On behalf of the Court and Court, we want to present this to your loving for saving so many lives and for taking away the people like me and the rest of us that are here today. Thank you so very much.
If you, Ms. Jenkins, if you'll hold for one moment, entering the room now is U.S. Congressman John Lewis.
Come on, we can do better than that, Jeff. Come on, St. Augustine. Come on. Come on. Come on, St. Augustine. We can do better than that. The last living survivor who spoke at the March on Washington in 1964. Come on, we can do better than that, St. Augustine.
Okay, Ms. Jenkins, you may now continue. That gave you a moment to put your thoughts together. Very good.
Thank you for giving me this honor to represent my husband, who was there for many years. He didn't turn around. He had his mind made up that he was going to save the union. And that's exactly what he did. I am truly blessed to have had a person that will stand up and don't back down. That's I am accepting the award on his behalf. And I told him he is not in a nursing home. He's not in a nursing home. He's doing real good. I told him I will be by and tell him and give him everything that went on here. Hopefully I can remember it. Thank all of you, and God bless you. Thank you.
Jenkins was a barber here for many years, and he cut my hair many years ago when I had hair. And we just had this piece going back and forth. He always used to call me old man. Now, he called everybody younger than him old man. And he would remind us that we oftentimes had to take him to Sunday school because his mother would trust him to older people to take to school. Please tell Clyde to know. We will now continue the program with a musical selection by, again, Ms. Carol Fisher.
And let me stand here another year. I don't want to prolong it, but I just want to tell you about the song that was given to me. I didn't know the song from Adam's Aunt. My parents I never did receive like musical notes. I know how to read notes, but I'm not that good at it. And I want to think I asked a lot of people to help me, and they didn't know it either. But one thing I noticed about the songs that were sung, they were all taken from the hymn book. Just changed around a little, added some words. I do that all the time, add my own words. So I didn't find out how the song actually went until yesterday when I was doing I was in the echo cardiac. And I took the song to the grocery store. I took it everywhere I could. And because David Nolan believed in me, I thought I'd find out how to sing it. And yesterday I did. And this morning I asked Mrs. Belcher if she would play for me. And if you know this song, you can feel free to join in. We're gonna march in St. Augustine tonight, my Lord. We're gonna march in St. Augustine tonight, my Lord. Getting ready for the Freedom Day, my Lord, my Lord. We're gonna march in St. Augustine tonight, my Lord. We're gonna march in St. Augustine tonight, my Lord. We're getting ready for the Freedom Day, my Lord, my Lord. Are you ready for your freedom? Oh yes. Are you ready for the journey? Oh yes. Are you ready for the freedom? Oh yes. We're gonna march in St. Augustine tonight, my Lord. We're gonna march in St. Augustine tonight, my Lord. We're gonna march in St. Augustine tonight, my Lord. We're gonna march in St. Augustine tonight, my Lord. Ready for the Freedom Day, my Lord. Are you ready, my sisters? Oh yes. Are you ready for the journey? Oh yes. Do you have your freedom? Oh yes. We're gonna march in St. Augustine tonight, my Lord. We're gonna march in St. Augustine tonight, my Lord. We're gonna march in St. Augustine tonight, my Lord. We're getting ready for the Freedom Day, my Lord, my Lord. Are you ready, my brother? Oh yes. Are you ready for the journey? Oh yes. Do you want your freedom? Oh yes. We're gonna march in St. Augustine tonight, my Lord. We're gonna march in St. Augustine tonight, my Lord. We're gonna march in St. Augustine tonight, my Lord. We're getting ready for the Freedom Day, my Lord, my
Catherine marched through the streets of St. Augustine, and she looked hatred right in the eye. They made Catherine sick to her stomach. You see people being attacked. You hear screams, the sounds of bricks being thrown through buildings, cars, at people. She heard the police start barking, especially right outside this hotel in Santa Monica. So she had the support of her mother. Catherine was the only person in her family that actually wanted to get involved with the movement that she did. From the St. Johns County Jail, where this morning we dedicated a historic Freedom Trail marker, Catherine wrote, "I heard from my state that tries in vain to cling to the immoral traditions of the past. For my country that has failed to live up to the principles on which it was founded, for all humanity does not yet learn how to live in a spirit of love and brotherhood. That is why I am here. It is why I heard." We welcome Catherine Ventris, Dr. Ventris, back to St. Augustine's Day, and we are eager to hear her story that she's going to share with us. Her many contributions to the struggle for the civil rights movement are now valued in a place where she was once arrested. So thank you, and thank you for being here today.
So imagine my surprise. It was 2 months ago. I was sitting in the Seattle airport. I came out. I was actually raised in Northern Beach, on Acapulco, both of them. But I moved west, and I was sitting in the Seattle airport waiting for an airplane at 7:30 in the morning, and my cell phone rang. It was strange, 7:30 in the morning, first of all. And I didn't recognize the number, and I answered the phone, and this sweet woman's voice says, "Are you by any chance the Captain Dentist that got arrested in Washington, D.C.?" Yes. "Blessed be," she said. "I've been looking for you." And then we had this wonderful chat, and she told me about this group called the Accord and how they're going to have a celebration, and is there any chance I'd be willing to come out? "I'd love to." "Blessed be," she said. And then, "Do you think you might be willing to speak?" And not knowing what she was really asking me, I said, "Sure." And she said, "Blessed be." So that's how this started. So I've had 2 months to do a lot of reminiscing, and it's been a very moving time. I felt a lot of sadness and grieving for all those that have been lost to us. And I'm also very proud that I was here, and very touched that I had an opportunity again to come back and revisit. And it's been powerful coming back and revisiting the trip to the jail. It's changed. I was most impressed to see all of the black sheriff's deputies. That was really And also, when I pictured this room and this audience, I didn't picture all these white people. How did I actually end up here in St. Augustine in the 60s? Well, I went back and back and back. And what I realized was when I was 17, actually, I was real active in my church and taking teaching. And there was going to be this human relations conference out at this university in Nashville, Tennessee. And my church decided I'd be a good person to go as part of the youth group. So I went out there. And it was amazing. All of these inspired speakers. And there was this fellow named John Lewis who was out there organizing students in all kinds of civil rights demonstrations. So I actually, in between sessions, went to my first picketing, and we picketed in Morrison's cafeteria down in Nashville. You were the one who got started. Well, I went off to college, and in 1963 summer, some of my friends out of Cleveland College in Daytona had gotten word through the grapevine that there were things going on in St. Augustine, Florida, which is up the road, of course. And there was this dentist named Dr. Robert Haley who was organizing people. And so I said, we better go ahead and check this out. So we drove up here. Got here in time to participate in the one of the picketing and sit-ins at the Woolworths. So I was out marching on the sidewalk with my signs while the Amazing Four were sitting at the lunch counter inside Woolworths trying to be served, and were being served insults rather than food. So I first bonded, I think, with the St. Augustine community that summer. Then off after college, I was going to Duke at the time, and I ended up doing civil voter registration in Eastern North Carolina, and got arrested in March and sit-in and shot to and so forth. And I made friends with a man named Harry Boyd, and Harry Boyd's dad was one of the only white people in the SCLC, Southern Leadership Conference, the only white man that was part of that program. And so being friends with Harry, I got to sort of hear what was going on. And so we were in the middle of doing our stuff up there at Duke University, but I started hearing about St. Augustine and the things that had happened in spring break. And so as soon as summer was over, I headed right back up here. And my mom was very supportive of her heart. She had raised me, even though I was raised in the South. She had been raised in the North, and she had always taught me about tolerance and brotherhood, and live that kind of Christian values. So I came up and just got involved with the nonviolence, practicing the techniques. We had strategy meetings, we had talks, we had all kinds of things going on at the churches at night, and so forth. And then Dr. King and Dr. Abernathy arrived. And the night I want to tell you about, we were meeting in St. Paul's Church. And things had heated up a lot. We had 4 black youths had been hit with tire irons on a little bridge over the little bridge right out here. And the deputies, most of the deputies in the sheriff's department, this was actually about to change, most of the deputies in the sheriff's department were in the Klan. So they weren't much good to us in terms of any kind of inspection. So when things started getting more and more violent, finally the governor was called and he sent some National Guardsmen in to help. So the night I remember the most, as I said, we were at St. Paul's Church. It was a hot, muggy June night. And the minister of the church got up and did some talking and praying, and we sang a bunch of hymns. And then Reverend got up, and he's a old time Baptist preacher type, and he got us all laughing and making jokes about Sheriff Davis and Apostle Lucy. And kind of loosened us up because we were pretty uptight and scared. And then Dr. King got up and spoke. And as if any of you ever heard, of course, he's profoundly eloquent and very articulate, and had this deep, passionate faith that just came up out of the core of him when he spoke. And so he started with teaching us some more things about nonviolent philosophy. They told us stories about Jesus and Gandhi. And he talked about moral courage. And he talked about having the strength to stand up for what we believe in. And he helped us feel strong. So he challenged our minds. And he lifted our spirits. And then he spoke to our hearts. That's where I get a chill. He talked about the great sadness he felt about the injustice across our country. And he reached out to the people in the community and expressed his deep sadness for all of the people in St. Augustine who had been beaten and threatened and had lost their jobs, had their houses shot into. And then he said this to us. This is the part I most want you to hear. He said, I'm going to ask you tonight to go out and march. But I don't want you to go unless you have love in your heart. I'm going to ask you to go out and march, and I'm going to ask you to go to jail. But I don't want you to go unless you could look in the faces of those Klansmen and those deputies and those angry people and know that they are your brothers and sisters. I'm going to ask you to go out and march in the night. Don't go if you don't have love in your heart. And then he closed his eyes and did a prayer and said, any of you who are willing to do this, please come up and stand in front of the congregation. So I sat there and I searched my heart. I took this really seriously. And the first thing I found was fear. I had a lot of fear about what might happen out there on the streets. And I wrestled with that fear, and I thought about all the things that might happen out on the street. And then I had to think about what might happen in the jail. And I faced all those fears and moved them aside. And then gave up my rage. I was so angry. I was so angry about my country. It was so far away from what we were supposed to be standing for. And I was so angry about all the violence that happened. And was still happening. I was angry at these people who had hurt my friends and hurt little communities. And I tried to work with that anger. I tried to think, well, you know, these segregationists, they're ignorant and they're scared. They're scared of change. You know, maybe you can have some compassion for that. And I get a little bit of, and then I get really mad all over about what they were doing. And I thought, well, can I separate the act? Can I hate the act and still have compassion for the violator? I wrestled. I thought, this is too hard. He's asking too much. This isn't fair. I was 19. And so I wrestled some more.